In this video, we are going to go over how to solve systems of equations using substitution. I've put together these 6 steps that we will follow every single time. Step 1 is we're going to solve one of the 2 equations for one variable. It does not matter which variable we choose to solve for. Once we do that, step 2 is to substitute that new equation into the other equation. Step 3 will solve for the remaining variable. Step 4, we will substitute that number back into one of the original equations. Step 5, we can then solve for the other variable. And step 6, we will write our final answer as a point on a graph x, y. So let's look at our first example. In this system, we have y equals 8x plus 9. And we have negative 4x minus 8y is equal to negative 4. So to solve this, step 1 says to solve one equation for a variable. If we notice, right here, this first equation is already solved for y. So we can say step 1 is done. We already have one variable solved for. So step 2 is to substitute. So we will substitute this value of y in the other equation to replace the y. So we have a negative 4x minus 8 instead of a y, what it is equal to, that 8x plus 9. And that is what we now have to look at. That was step 2. We substituted. We still have r equals the negative 4. So now that we've done that, we can move to step 3, which is solve for the variable. We made this substitution with a purpose so that we would only have one variable remaining. All we have are x's now, so we can solve this. So now it's time to go ahead and distribute. So we would take that negative 8 and distribute to get rid of the parentheses. So we have a negative 4x. A negative 8 times a positive 8x gives us a negative 64x. A negative 8 times a positive 9 gives us a negative 72. And all of that is equal to negative 4. Now we can look to combine like terms. I have a negative 4x and a negative 64x. That's going to combine together to give us a negative 68x. And we still have our minus 72 is equal to negative 4. We're trying to get x by itself, so now we can we can do the opposite of subtract, which is to add that 72 to both sides. So now we have a negative 68x. A negative 72 plus a 72 equals 0, so that cancels out, is equal to a negative 4 plus 72, which gives us 68. Now to get x by itself, we simply divide by the negative 68 on both sides. And we arrive at part of our answer, x is equal to negative 1. So that was step 3. Step 4 is to plug that value, substitute that number, back into one of the original equations. So we're going to take this negative 1 and replace that x. So I have a y is equal to 8 times that value, which we just found, the negative 1, plus 9. Now I can solve for y. The 8 times the negative 1 gives us a negative 8 plus 9 gives us that y is equal to 1. Once we substituted it in, we solved for that y. That was step 5. And our final step, step 6, write your final answer as a point on a graph, the xy coordinate. So my x value was negative 1, my y value was 1, and we've arrived at our final answer. Let's look at another example. In example 2, we have a 4x minus y is equal to negative 23. And we have y is equal to negative 2x minus 19. Step 1 tells us to solve one equation for a variable. Well, if we look closely, we already have one equation solved for a variable. This guy right here. So we can go ahead and say step 1's done. We can move on to step 2. So we can substitute that value in to the other equation. So we have a 4x minus, instead of a y, what we found the y to equal, the negative 2x minus 19. And all of that was equal to negative 23. So step 1 and step 2 are now done. Step 3, we need to solve for that variable. So it's time to distribute that negative 1 right there. Anytime there's no number, it's just a negative sign, it's a 1. So distributing that, we'll get rid of the parentheses. So we have a 4x minus 1 times, so negative 1 times negative 2x is going to give us a positive 2x. A negative 1 times a negative 19 is going to give us a positive 19 is equal to negative 23. So now we can combine like terms. So 4x plus 2x gives us a 6x. We still have our plus 19 is equal to negative 23. We're trying to get the x by itself, so we need to go ahead and subtract that 19 to send it to the other side. Now we have a 6x is equal to a negative 42, because negative 23 plus negative 19 gives us negative 42. To get x by itself, we can divide both sides by 6, leaving us at our answer of x is equal to negative 7. So that was step 3. Step 4 is to substitute that value back in to the other equation. So we have a y is equal to a negative 2 instead of an x. What x equals? The negative 7. And then the minus 19. Step 4 is done. We substituted that value back in. Step 5, solve for that variable. So we have a y is equal to negative 2 times negative 7 gives us a positive 14 minus 19. So y is equal to negative 5. Step 5 is finished. Step 6, write your final answer in the form of x comma y. So my x value was negative 7, my y value was negative 5, and here is our final solution. Let's look at a third example. Here we have negative 6x minus 6y is equal to 12, and we have y is equal to 2x minus 20. Same steps. Step 1, solve one equation for a variable. Well, this one's nice. It's already solved for y in that second equation. So step 1 is done. Step 2, substitute. So substitute that value into the other equation. So negative 6x minus 6 instead of y, what y equals? That 2x minus 20. And all of that is equal to 12. We substituted it in. So step 2 is now done. Step 3, solve for that variable. So we take this negative 6 and we're going to distribute to get rid of the parentheses. So here we have a negative 6x. Negative 6 times 2x gives us a negative 12x. Negative 6 times negative 20 gives us a positive 120. And all of that is equal to 12. From there, we can combine like terms. So we have a negative 6x and a negative 12x. That's going to give us a negative 18x. We still have our plus 120 is equal to 12. Again, we're trying to get x by itself, so we can subtract the 120 on both sides. That leaves us with a negative 18x is equal to negative 108. Now we're trying to get x by itself, so we need to divide both sides by negative 18. And so here we arrive at our final answer, well, part of our final answer. X equals a negative 108 divided by negative 18. That gives us a 6. So we've now completed step 1, step 2, and step 3. So now we're at step 4. Substitute that number into the other equation. So we have a y is equal to 2 instead of an x, what the x equals, which is 6, and then minus 20. So y is equal to 2 times 6 is 12, minus 20. 12 minus 20, that gives us y is equal to negative 8. So step 4 and 5, the substitute the value in and solve for the variable, are complete, leaving us only our final step, step 6, write your final answer as a coordinate x comma y. So our x value was 6, our y value was negative 8. Let's look at a fourth example. So here we have negative x plus 4y is equal to negative 6, and y is equal to 2x plus 2, and we're trying to solve this using substitution. Step 1, solve one equation for a variable. We're in luck, that is already done for us. Step 2, substitute that value in. So we're going to plug that in for y in the other equation. So negative x plus 4y, instead of the y, we want to replace it with what the y equaled, that 2x plus 2. And all of that is equal to negative 6. So step 2 is complete. Step 3, solve for the variable. So we need to distribute that 4 to get rid of the parentheses. So now we're looking at negative x plus 8x plus 8 is equal to negative 6. Combine like terms. That gives us a 7x plus 8 is equal to negative 6. We want to get x by itself, so subtract 8 on both sides. Now we have a 7x is equal to a negative 14. We're still trying to get x by itself. Divide both sides by 7. So part of our answer, we get x is equal to negative 2. So now step 3 is finished. Step 4, substitute that value into the other equation. So y is equal to 2 times x, but my x is equal to negative 2, so we're going to plug that in, plus 2. So we have y is equal to negative 4 plus 2, y is equal to negative 2. So step 4 and step 5 are complete. Now we just need to write our final answer as our xy coordinate. So my x value is negative 2, and my y value is negative 2. And we've arrived at our final answer. Let's look at another example. Here we have 8x plus y is equal to 9, and a negative 2x plus 5y is equal to 3. In this system, we no longer already have step 1 complete. We don't have a variable already solved for. But what we do have is a variable with a coefficient of 1. So that would be where we would start. So let's use the first equation and solve for y. So we have an 8x plus y is equal to 9. To solve for y, we need to send that 8x to the other side. So minus 8x on both sides. We get that y is equal to a negative 8x plus 9. So now step 1 is complete. We've solved one equation for the variable. We can then move to step 2, which is to substitute. So y is equal to a negative 8x plus 9, and we can substitute that into the other equation. So we have a negative 2x plus 5 instead of a y, what the y equals, which is negative 8x plus 9, and all of that is equal to 3. So from here we need to go ahead and distribute that 5 to get rid of the parentheses. So we're now looking at a negative 2x minus a 40x and plus a 45, all equal to 3. We can combine like terms. Negative 2x minus 40x gives us a negative 42x plus 45 is equal to 3. Send that 45 to the other side, so subtract 45. We get a negative 42x is equal to a negative 42. Get x by itself by dividing both sides by negative 42. So we arrive at x is equal to a 1. So now step 1, step 2, and step 3 are solved. So now we're at step 4. Step 4, substitute that number back into the other original equation. So we have an 8 times my x. Well, my x is 1, plus y is equal to 9. So now we can solve for y from here. So step 4 is complete. Step 5, let's solve. 8 times 1 is 8, plus y is equal to 9. Get y by itself. We're going to subtract 8 on both sides. So we get that y is equal to 1. So now step 5 is complete. Step 6, write your final answer as your xy coordinate. So that means your x value comes first, 1, followed by your y value, 1. Here is your final answer. Let's look at one last example. In this example, we have an x plus 5y is equal to negative 22. And we have a 5x plus 2y is equal to negative 18. So step 1, solve one equation for a variable. Neither of them are already solved for a variable, but we do have a coefficient of 1. So we want to solve that first equation for x. So x plus 5y is equal to negative 22. We want to send that negative 5 or that positive 5y to the other side by subtracting. So we get that x is equal to a negative 5y minus 22. And we can now say step 1 is complete. We've solved for one variable. Step 2, substitute that into the other equation. So we have a 5 instead of an x, what we found our x to equal. A negative 5y minus 22 plus 2y is equal to negative 18. Get rid of our parentheses by distributing that 5. So we have a negative 25y, and we have a negative 110 plus 2y is equal to negative 18. We can combine like terms. I have a negative 25y and a positive 2y. That gives me a negative 23y. Minus 110 is equal to 18. Now we need to send that negative 110 to the other side. So we can do that by adding 110 to both sides. So we arrive at negative 23y is equal to, if you notice, I missed a negative when I copied. So this was a negative 18, and this was a negative 18. So negative 18 plus 110 gives us a 92. Now we need to get y by itself, so we can divide by negative 23 on both sides. And we arrive at our answer for y. Y is equal to 92 divided by negative 23 gives us a negative 4. So now step 3 is done. Step 4, substitute that value into the other equation. So x plus 5, instead of a y, what the y equals, negative 4, is equal to negative 22. So x minus 20 is equal to negative 22. We get x by itself by adding 20 to both sides, and we arrive at x is equal to negative 2. So now step 5 is complete. We can then do step 6, which is write our final answer as an xy coordinate. So my x value is negative 2, my y value is negative 4, and here is our final answer.